Hello everyone. Right, so for English we're thinking about dark and darkness. And yesterday's lesson we thought about darkness being both good and bad, evil and helpful, a friend or an enemy. So today we've got the idea of personification. Can you remember what personification means? It means thinking of darkness as if it were a human form. It's doing things that humans do. So we're going to be thinking of a character description of darkness. Now darkness, to me, if I try to visualise it, I try and think of it as a character. How would it move? What would it look like? It's nothing to do with the skin colour or anything like that. It's to do with the feeling of lack of light, the absence of light. You know, it's nothing to do with a dark person. Think of it as how would darkness behave if it were a person. So you've got that idea of where would it live, what would it do, how would it move, what would it try and achieve, darkness. You know, it's got that idea of it creeps along, it smothers the light, you know, darkness comes across to you not suddenly, is it? Unless, I suppose, if you turn the light off, you're suddenly plunged into darkness. So it could be both. It could come very quickly, or it could come very slowly. You know, sometimes you're sitting there and you don't notice it's gone dark. So we're going to talk about its height, its posture. Do you know what posture means? The way it moves, the way it holds itself, the way it dresses. And it's up to you. You can make it either evil or, you know, as a friend, but I think it's easier almost not to think about that too much. Just try and think of it as if it were a person who, you know, how would you describe it? Oh yeah, look, there's dark, there's darkness. That's, you know, there's a very famous song that first line is "Hello darkness, my old friend." I just want to read to you. We're reading this book at the moment, and we just came across this passage about darkness. And obviously in this book, darkness is something fearful, so I'll just read this to try and get us in there. Sometime near daybreak, the feeble light from the electric light bulb that had helped them through the night flickered out. Mo and Eleanor were asleep near the locked door, but Meggie lay in the dark with her eyes open, feeling fear ooze out of the cold walls. She listened to Eleanor's breathing and her father's, and the more they wished for a candle and a book to keep the fear away, it seemed to be everywhere. A malicious, disembodied creature that had just been waiting for the light to go out so that it could steal close to her in the darkness and take it in its cold arms. Meggie sat up, fought for breath and crawled over to Moore on all fours. She curled up in a ball beside him, the way she used to when she was little, and waited for the light of dawn to come in under the door. So obviously she's really frightened of the dark, and I know some of us are. Sometimes we have been frightened of the dark. It can feel claustrophobic, it can feel like it's pressing down on you. So it's over to you. How do you want to describe darkness in your mind? If you are frightened of the dark, and it's absolutely a normal feeling to be frightened of the dark, write it as if it were something to be really frightened about. If you're not frightened of the dark, think of it in another way. So I'm going to think of my darkness and I'm going to try and describe it in my mind. But as I said, think of those really strong vocabulary choices. Think about the way that it moves. So, slowly, sneaking under the doorway. So I've pinched the idea of the doorway. So she's waiting for the light to come in. I've got the idea that darkness is coming under the doorway. Slowly sneaking under the doorway. Darkness creeps, crawls its way across the floor. Raven coloured hair. Raven meaning black. Grey smoky eyes. And a full billowing cloak. I like the idea of a cloak, darkness having a cloak that smothers things, smothering the light. It hides sneakily in corners where lights, and I'm going to use light, I'm going to personify light, where light's fine rays cannot reach. So I've got the idea of the light not being able to get there. It curls its fingers, it curls its... Do I think of darkness as having long fingers? Its long, thin fingers around the fading sunset. In the depths, it lurks. I'm using lurks because I've got this idea of darkness as sort of being there waiting and waiting, so I'm going to add that in. In the depths it lurks, waiting. For its moment to pounce as the switch is turned off. Think about its voice. How would it speak? Would it be very deep voice, or would it be light? Would it be in the poem they talk about it having a velvety voice. So I'm going to borrow that idea of this sort of thick, velvety, almost rolling voice that's just, lulls you to sleep. So, with its thick, velvety voice, nice bit of alliteration going there, with its thick, velvety voice, it whispers lullabies and songs of slumber. That's nice. Songs of slumber. To slumber is to sleep. Lullabies. With its thick velvety voice it whispers lullabies and songs of slumber, lulling you into its grasp, unable to escape. Its strong arms. So I've got the idea of darkness as having arms, and it's lulling you into sleep almost like a baby. So let's have a little look. You can go on, you can continue this, this is just the beginning. So I've got the idea of how does it move? It slowly sneaks under the doorway. It creeps, so darkness creeps, crawls its way across the floor. I like the idea of how, like shadows just move across slowly. Raven-coloured hair, I think it's got black hair, but you can have what you like. Raven-coloured hair, grey smoky eyes and full bellowing cloak, smothering the light. It hides, so I've got the idea of it hides sneakily in corners where light's fine rays cannot reach. It curls its long thin fingers around the fading sunset. In the depths it lurks, waiting for its moment to pounce as the switch is turned off. So that idea of it goes slowly and creeps along, and then suddenly it turns off, switches off the minute the light goes on or off. With its thick velvety voice it whispers lullabies and songs of slumber, lulling you into its grasp, unable to escape its strong arms. I think I should have had here, slowly sneaking under the doorway, darkness creeps, crawls away. Now a lot of us are doing this. Look at this sentence. Raven-coloured hair, grey smoky eyes and full billowing cloak, right, para 3, description 3, smothering the light. Is that a sentence? It's not. So I need here with raven-coloured hair, grey smoky eyes and full billowing. And this should then be a comma and It hides, sneaking in corners where light's fine rays cannot reach. It curls its long thin, right. And now I think I'm going to make that into another sentence because that's too long. So, with raven-coloured hair, grey smoky eyes and full billowing cloak, smothering the light it hides, sneakily in corners where light's fine rays cannot reach it. Cannot reach. It curls its long thin fingers around the fading sunset. That's much better. You need to have a verb. I've noticed a lot of us are, if we have an ing starter, or we have just a pair of three, a sentence of three ideas, we're not actually using a verb. So there, I checked that through and I changed it to a better one. So try and have your pair of three. So again, think about how does it move? What does it look like? How does it get rid of the light? How does it behave with the light? Is it a fight? Or is it a slow process? I like the idea of it coming slowly, but you can have it quickly if you wish. You know, and I think it lives deep down somewhere dark. You know, if you read the poem, you know, inside your pocket it's totally dark, inside your slipper. It's all of those places that it lurks, it's waiting. And then finally think about its voice. How does the dark speak? Does it have a deep growling voice, or does it have a smooth or slick voice that sort of sends you to the slumbers, to your lullabies? Okay, have a go and send them in quickly for me tomorrow. That would be great. And then we can carry on with our poetry. Okay, bye then.